Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus, and I'm chatting in my jungle room again. I am speaking to an incredible music entertainer, Australian music icon, let's be honest. It is Mark Lizotte. You might know him as Mark Lizotte, but also you will definitely know him as Diesel. Mark, hey, how are you?
I'm really good. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. I like seriously, I feel like it was about a year ago that I spoke to you last, and since then you have just not stopped touring.
It's been going good. The band tour was fun, and I guess traditionally after a band tour, I usually do a solo tour, and that's what I've been doing this by request, and it's been really fun. I have to say, letting the crowd pick the songs is always a bit of a, you're giving up some control, but it's been great. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Because look, honestly, some of the hits they're going to yell out. Because there's a plethora of them. Everything from "Tip of My Tongue," "Come to Me," right down to "Master Plan." The hits just kept on coming. For decades. There's
Yeah.
they can yell out. Have they ever yelled out something that isn't actually one of yours?
Oh yeah. They yell it out, but they also, because with the ticketing process, they get directed to this like a survey, like a questionnaire thing, and so there's been some like, yeah, all kinds of songs. It's like, okay, for some people it's just like a fantasy thing, for like really love to hear you sing that song. It's like, okay, in your mind, yeah, that must sound really great to you. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm not going to diss anybody for picking a song that, but it's just interesting. It's like, oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, never would have thought of that one, but okay,
Roll with it. Hey, so last time I
Yeah,
you.
like it's a
Oh,
bit like fantasy football or something for some people.
last time I saw you was the bootleg Melancholy album tour, which was that
Yeah,
came out in 2023. I think the tour was the end of 2023 or maybe the beginning of 2024. It's
2024. Yeah,
right. It's all a blur now. Everything's gone so fast. That album was
it's true.
incredible. And that got received so well. The reviews were great. And you just I
Mm.
think gangbusters with that one. So obviously it's a whole different tour this time round. But you have just, because this tour has been going on for a little bit, but you've just extended the tour for 2026 by 21.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Kicking off Friday the 30th in Tasmania, you're literally going
Mm.
everywhere. Wrapping up, the
Oh,
20th
nice.
of April, New South Wales, but you're going to be in Adelaide, where I am, at the Playhouse on the 21st of March.
Mm.
And there's everything else in between there. So the life on the road, like doing the tours, how do you like that? Do you prefer to be on the road touring, or do you like being in the studio or sitting under an apple tree writing songs? Where's your preference?
I do love creating in the studio, and I kind of, I guess I'm lucky. I can say that I get to sort of straddle both worlds, and sometimes I'm not going to lie, there's weeks where like the touring thing is very consuming because even though if I look at my calendar, I'll see like, there's a gap there or whatever. But what happens with that gap, is in reality is when you've just done like 3 or 4 dates in a row, and then you come back and you just kind of like, for the first day, you're just kind of, you know, you're just recovering, So uh, then there's like, the piles of laundry and like the stuff that you have to do with your equipment. You got to like run that to that person or that to that, and you need to go and grab that. And it's just the ongoing maintenance of touring. And then it's like, oh, back to get time to head to the airport again or whatever, or hit the road. And so, yeah, like, a midweek kind of like gap can just get swallowed up. You talk to any musician, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, and then you look back and you go, well, what happened to October? Oh yeah, that's right. I played like a bunch of dates, So it's, even though they're technically only like maybe 6 to 8 dates or something in a month, but just the impact that they have, because there's the before, the after, It's the getting there and then coming back. It's not just like, the 3 hour show or whatever. My show is, like about 2.5 hours at the moment. And yeah, it's not just that. It's all those tiny lights. I imagine some people would be really amazed. They're like, oh wow, never realized so many things go into just, yep, to see me on stage doing that, all these little elements have to be spoken, accounted for. So yeah, that's it. So I do enjoy. I mean, that's what, it's kind of crazy to say the word great and COVID in the same mouthful, but the great thing about COVID was just like the touring was just off the thing. And as much as I lamented for it and missed it so much and was, would have like kind of like panic attacks, almost like wondering if it was going to come back, I was able to just indulge in like non-stop, just like of making stuff in the studio without any interruptions. It was probably never going to happen again.
Yeah, no, quite right. Hey, so like when you're doing these tours, like, I mean, because you've just come off, doing a huge regional tour. Now you're going to do everywhere else as well, but
Yeah.
including some regional ones. But do you ever get to a point it's like, holy moly, I don't even know where I am tonight? Is it kind of like sometimes you need to check yourself?
Um, Look, that's part of the reason why I like to hit town and just acclimate myself. Ultimately, I love to like get out, um, run around the town, literally, like run through the town or find the river, find whatever it is, find the big botanical gardens, whatever they have, something that's, adjacent to the city. There's so many, like, Wagga Wagga, for instance, I went there for years, touring band. I think we played there, really early on. It would have been one of those places that we played along with Orange and Dubbo. And I did not know there was a river in that town until like, just recently.
Yeah, wow.
I didn't know there was a lake in is it Ballarat? Yeah.
Yep.
Um, things like that. You just almost embarrassed to say like, yeah, I've been to this town so many times and I have no idea actually what the town has to offer or whatever because
Yeah.
it's in and out. So I
Yeah.
try to acclimate myself like that, and that really helps me. Like I feel like when I get on stage that night, I don't feel so much of an imposter, and
Yeah.
I'm less likely to go, where the hell am I? I tell you what, I can say that I experience on a regular basis is the waking up in the middle of the night and just going, where am I? Like that's a occupational hazard, and it's a horrible feeling because you're like kind of you feel like your soul is just like free falling for about it feels like an eternity, but it's only like probably like 2 seconds. But for that 2 to 3 seconds, you're just like it's almost like I make jokes about it, but it's not like just where am I? It's like where am I? What am I? Who am I? Like it's everything. It's an existential like crisis. You've woken up and it just does something to your brain. And a friend of mine who actually was in the military, boy, he said to me that I think maybe this is something the military said for them to do is like before you go to bed, like you actually say to yourself, I am in blah 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 blah. As silly as it sounds,
Yeah.
you say I'm in Wagga Wagga blah 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 blah, and then go to sleep, and that just like plants something in your brain. So if you wake up in the middle of the night, you go Wagga Wagga.
I get it. Yeah. So crazy. Hey, so I mean, obviously, I mean, you're always on the road, but are you and the last album, like we just said earlier, 2023 bootleg
Yeah,
Holly. While you are on the road, do you like trying to create new music, write new music, write new lyrics? Is that something you do
yeah.
in spare time?
You've got to be sure okay. All my guitars have been on a plane. I need to like go through them all and make sure they're all still like okay.
Yep.
Different when they've been driving down the highway and in a van or whatever. It's a little bit less stress, but so I need to go through all that, make sure everything's like going to work before I pick it up that night. The last thing I want is to like go to grab something and go, oh, sorry everyone, this one's not working tonight.
Uh-huh.
Um, but amongst all that, I get to just like play with my gear and in a thing where there's not like this pressure of an audience. So I get to kind of unravel, discover sounds, and inevitably, like yeah, I record a lot of things like at sound checks that are just like little riffs and things that I've used later, and all come together was written at sound check. That's something I'll never forget. That was, the keyboardist that was playing with me at the time Guy Davies just started playing those chords, and I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "I don't know," and, just doodling away. And I started singing, and blah blah blah. And then we went to Rome after that and made the demo, and then it was like the most played song on radio that year.
Yeah.
So it was, things like that. Yeah. I mean, I've learned not to kind of stress out about, like I need to finish this right now. I just kind of collect things. And if it's good, it's kind of, I think a lot of artistic people would say, agree with me. It sort of floats to the top again. You might forget it and go, oh, damn, I forgot that idea. But it'll come back at some point and you'll go, oh, hang on. Oh, that's right. That's why it feels familiar. It was that idea that I had. And then that's usually a good omen. You think, well, if it was good enough to come floating back again,
Yeah.
it's like like a stray pet that kind of goes out and wanders around then but comes back.
Hey, so I mean, obviously the early days, the music industry has changed radically since then, up until now.
Sure has.
Do you find creating music now a bit more of an easier process or more of a challenging process?
It's a really good question. I think, when I first started, I had no kind of awareness of like it had to be in a certain way and then at some point you become aware of like, okay, the record company, is going to listen to this. They're going to say this, they're going to say that, or they might want me to do that. Start becoming aware of this, kind of some kind of protocol or some kind of mold or whatever it is. Thankfully, I never ever felt super pressured by anyone, I have to say. No one said to me, you need to do it like this, or, you're not going to blah, 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 or if you want to be, you need to do it like this. No one was, that threatening to me. But I know other artists that did experience that sort of thing. It was like my way or the highway mentality. I was left to just do what I wanted to do, but I still started feeling at some point like, especially when you have success, it's like really daunting to kind of think, oh, how do I repeat this? It's like that's ridiculous. You can't repeat that. You just do your best.
Yeah.
And I think at this point now, in 17 albums down the track, I have probably got less fucks than any time before. I just make what I make now, and like I've been through all that, like kind of like really cerebral, kind of like thinking about shit a lot. Um, but yeah, thankfully, it's only been maybe, kind of a thing that sort of came and, nipped at my heels for a bit. But ultimately, at some point, I've gone, you know what? This is just what I'm going to do. This is what I feel at the time. Um, I might look back on it and go, yeah, if I did it again, I wouldn't do it that way or whatever, but that was what I wanted to do at that time. And I can only hold myself accountable. I can't blame it on anyone and go, well, that record sounds like that because, the A&R person or the, record label or whatever said, you need to make it sound like this, because blah, blah, blah. And, there was a lot of that back in when the record companies had a lot of say because they were spending all the money.
Yep.
That's a very simple equation. They were spending the budgets, and so of course they're going to have a say. There was, it's a human element in this business that we work in. We're not, guided by robots yet, and with the advent of technology and so many people are autonomous making their own music, it's more of like they deliver it to the record companies now, and they go, yeah, great, this is awesome. We're going to put it out, blah blah blah. I'm not going to be one of these people that sits here and says, record companies are like, they're redundant. They don't fit into the terrain anymore, which is just rubbish. Like there's so many different plateaus, so many different planes, I should say, of how you can exist on. And sure, do it DIY completely yourself. You can do it that, or you can, do a distro deal. There's so many ways, so many different ways. And yeah, it's just it's kind of, I think it's really healthy now that artists are able to make stuff themselves without this kind of like mentality of like, well, that's good, but now you're gonna have to go and do it properly in a studio and spend, a couple of $100,000, and that's conservative. So it's a proper record because that mentality kind of did exist when I started in the 80s and 90s. That was a very real thing. And you know, I wouldn't say single-handedly, but let's just use it as an example, because it was happening a lot. The Nirvana album, which cost like $30,000 to make, um, that really blew a lot of people's minds. It was like, whoa, hang on, like they just made an album for like under 30K or something, and it's like, sounds incredible, and it's, sold millions of copies. The Alanis Morissette Jagged Little Pill, which was made in a house, I believe, with like some of these things called ADATs, which used video cassettes at the time, because they were like that started the revolution. Before people started making records on laptops, they were using these things called ADATs, and that suddenly was a really cost-effective way to make a record.
Yeah.
That blew a lot of people's minds too. It was like, wow, that record was made. That would normally be called demos. Now that's being released.
Yeah.
So we have to rethink this now. And sadly, yeah, I mean, if you talk to a lot of studio owners, they would say that was the beginning of the end for them. Um, Thankfully, there still are a few. I always encourage young artists to go and have at least a couple of days in a proper studio, because they're amazing. Studios that have incredible equipment. They have that grand piano. They've got some amazing amplifiers. They've got incredible, beautiful sounding microphones. Go and work in those studios, because yes, you can do it with a laptop, a piece of equipment that costs $200, and a microphone. Yes, you can make a record like that. Yeah, but go and use it. Go and experience what it's like to work in a studio where maybe that environment's really inspiring as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some more motivation somehow,
Yeah, look, unfortunately, that those really great studios are still like, at least $1,500 a day. But if you can save up, and like blow a little bit of a budget, and go and, treat yourself, like go up to the music farm up in outside of Byron and record some stuff there. It's an
Yeah.
amazing experience.
Hey, Mark, as you would well know, John Swanee, has released
Yeah.
Believe, which is, some incredible collaborations, right? We know that. Is there like, I mean, what a great album. What a great comeback album. I mean, not that he had to come back, because he never really went anywhere, but
No.
it's just been received so well. Is there a collaboration that you have not, is there someone that you haven't worked with that you would love to collaborate with? Vocally or
Oh boy.
guys?
In this country, I mean, let's just start with someone like, Joe Camilleri. I would love to do something with him.
Yeah.
I love his songwriting. I love his voice. He's just an incredible, I mean, the way he plays multiple instruments and, makes a beautiful sound on everything he seems to like pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a class act.
Very clever.
Um, I'd love to like to get to like do something with talking about like new artists. I'd have to say Thelma Plum is my favorite at the moment. Or has been for a while. I shouldn't say at the moment. For like last couple of years, I've just been glued to everything she's released. I just love her songwriting.
Um, and with you, personally, is it, so obviously, the last album was 2023, and you've been a very, very busy guy. But is there talks of a possible new album coming out down the track sometime?
I am looking at I've got some finishing to do. It's always the finishing that's the thing. But the devil's in the details, as they say. But yeah, I'm looking at 2026, hopefully by like at least, yeah, by the a winter release, I hope.
And then fingers crossed
Something.
another tour. Life on.
Yeah, of course. There'll definitely be a tour.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, that's the way the business works now, of course. Mark Lizotte, Diesel, you are just always so fabulous to talk to. Again, the content is just endless. We could talk about things forever with you, because your experiences are just so worldly, and so much knowledge that you can partake in and give to other people.
Well,
The
that's the thing. Got to give it to other people because otherwise it's useless, isn't it?
Correct, right? Correct. 21 new shows in 2026. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some more added to that as well. We'll see how you go.
Oh, who knows? But I haven't been to Alice Springs for a long time, and that's one of the dates, so I'm super excited about that.
The list on Ipswich, everywhere, Alice, yeah, like
Yeah.
Alice Springs, Canberra, Bowral, everything's on there. It kicks off
Yep.
again on the 30th of January, like I said, in Tasmania. Wraps up 26th of April in New South Wales. Adelaide people, South Australians, is coming here to Dunstan Playhouse at Her Majesty, sorry, at Adelaide Festival Centre on the 21st of March. Mark, I will see you there. Diesel, I can't even wait.
Thank you.
So nice chatting. I'll see you, my friend.
Yeah, always. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Be,
Cheers.
be awesome.
Ciao.
Bye.